Hi everyone, welcome to our Game Changers webinar and welcome to any new faces and also any of those of you who are returning again. It's great to have you all here. I am Charlene McKeown from Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful and I'm the Environmental Education Manager and managing projects such as EcoSkills, which is funded by the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. My colleague Kathy Gorman is also along with me today and we are absolutely delighted to be working today with our Global Perspective topic sponsor, Trócaire, and we have the pleasure of having Rio Fernandez along with us. So Laura is the Development Education Officer for Trócaire in Northern Ireland, and she's really looking forward to telling you all about game changers and the importance and relevance of the Sustainable Development Goals. So before we hand you over to Laura, I'd like to introduce my colleague and co-host Kathy to you, to go over some of the real technology side of things and really let you know how you can get involved throughout the webinar itself. So Kathy, if you want to take over then.
Okay, thanks Charlene. So hi, I'm Kathy Gorman. As Charlene said, I'm EcoSkills Officer in Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful. Now, technology, it's not to panic. We're going to be using a platform called Menti, and that just will allow you to interact with Laura during her presentation. So Laura will prompt you at a couple of different points in her presentation to go to menti.com and to put in a special code so you can have your say and interact with us. So it is really straightforward. Don't panic. All the instructions are going to be on the screen there to guide you. I had a bit of a crash course this morning myself. And also, if you have any questions for Laura or myself or Charlene through the presentation, if you just pop them into the chat function in Zoom, Charlene and I will keep an eye on them and we'll put them to Laura at the end. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Laura, now to begin. Thanks.
Thanks, Kathy, and thanks, Charlene, for inviting me to be here today. I'm delighted to tell you all about Game Changers. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Don't panic with the technology. Kathy was right there. And if you're not able to get into Mentimeter, we'll sort it out. So let's start. We're going, as Charlene said, my name is Laura, and I am the Development Education Officer at Trócaire. You can notice that my accent is a bit different. I am originally from the northwest of Spain, from a region called Galicia, but I've been living here for the past 8 years. So I hope my accent is not a problem. And if it is, please stop me and I will try to repeat everything you didn't get. Now, a little bit of Trócaire to start with. The work of Trócaire, Trócaire has two main objectives of areas of work. One of them is our work overseas, and in our work overseas, we work through a justice and human rights lens. And we have three main thematic areas. One of them is equal rights for women and men, and access to resources, especially food and water, and assistance, humanitarian assistance. Now, we have another part of our work, which is working here in Ireland, telling about the root causes of poverty, for example, with our education program, or development education program, telling about the root causes of poverty, how our actions impact in the world, and how can we change our actions to bring about positive change. There is also campaigns work here in Ireland where we try to influence legislation to make a more fair and sustainable world, or to help. For example, one of the campaigns is around business and human rights, and you can check everything on our website, trócaire.org. Now, if we move, I would like to know your name, your school, and where are you? So if you can go to Mentimeter, you go to menti.com and you use the code that is here on the screen, 3886378. And you can write your name, if you're a teacher or if you're a student, what's your school and where are you, what is your town? Now, let me see if there's any answers coming up. We have 2 people coming up.
Laura, if you want to share it on Menti so that we can see it.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Okay, are you seeing it now? Can you see it now?
Yep, we can, yeah.
Okay, so we have a teacher from special school in Lurgan, Serlen. Now, if we have more participants and we only have one entry from a teacher, if you have problems entering Mentimeter, you can use the chat as well. So you prefer to use the chat function? We can then check where are you. If not, even if you have a phone or a tablet and you go to menti.com, they will ask you for a code. And if you enter this code, 3886378, you will be able to enter your answers. And as I said, you have the chat option as well, if you prefer or it's easier for you. Okay, here we have more Professor Soslands. Welcome, Beverly. Do we have anything on the chat, Charlene?
We don't right now, I know. I think people
Right, we'll wait a couple of minutes more.
Not worry too much.
We can just wait a few seconds to see if people is able to write. Okay, we have chat now as well. Okay, so you cannot go to the website. Okay, that's fine. Can you tell us where are you from and what's your school? Youth on the chat. Now on the chat, you have an option to send a direct message or send to panelists or to panelists and attendees. So there is when there is two, and then there is a arrow where you can click and go to all panelists and attendees so that everyone can read your messages. St. Clair's, very good. Is this in Belfast? Yeah, perfect. I think I was working in that school actually. Okay, so welcome everybody. Let's go. So today we are going to talk about how to change the world. We're going to talk especially about the Sustainable Development Goals. And we're going to give you, we didn't know it will be teachers or students here today, but we're going, if there is teachers, we're going to give you some tools on how to work the Sustainable Development Goals in your school. We're going to show you a video, and then you can use that video with your students. We have more resources in our website that I will invite you to have a look as well. And then we're going to give you some examples of activities that you can use. And then we're going to talk about games and how to become a game changer, especially around our Game Changers competition and our new Game Changers online program. So we're going to start with the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals are a set of 17 goals set up to fight inequality, reduce poverty, and protect the planet. So we're going to see a video to explain the Sustainable Development Goals, and then we're going to chat a little bit more about them.
Hello, my name is Malala, and I'm from Pakistan. We have a very urgent mission to complete by 2030, and you can help us. Together, we must fight inequality.
Oops, what happened there?
Hello, my name is Malala, and I'm from Pakistan. We have a very urgent mission to complete by 2030, and you can help us. Together, we must fight inequality, end extreme poverty, and respect our planet. I'm determined to do this. Are you?
Excuse me. Hello? Have you got a minute? But this is important. We need your help. Imagine you're traveling in space. you're looking for intelligent life. You've been travelling for a while because space is very spacious. You've already spotted millions of planets with no life at all, lots of acid, lava, that sort of thing. But nowhere you go to your holidays. And then you see Earth. A tiny island in space. A little speck of water, rock and soil with a thin veil of air that we can breathe. There might be life out there in space, but here on Earth, it's everywhere. On the land, in the water, in the air. Plants, insects, birds, fish, and every type of living creature. Some beautiful, some, frankly, a bit weird. And people, billions of people like you and me. You know, beautiful, reasonably intelligent life. No, I'm just saying. In most ways, we're just like the rest of life on Earth. We start from tiny seeds, and with the right conditions, we grow and mature. To do that, we all need the same basic things. No, not mobile phones, trainers and Facebook, but fresh water, clean air, and healthy food. Without those, we don't last long, no matter how smart our phones are. The good news is that Earth has enough for all of us. The bad news is we've got some serious problems in our way. The first is climate change. The way we're living on Earth now is damaging the very things we need to live. The fuels we burn are taking the atmosphere with gases we can't breathe. We're running out of clean drinking water. But some of us waste it on things that we don't need. And all of this is changing the weather, and that's not even the half of it. The second problem is inequality. Some people on Earth have far more than they need, and most people don't have nearly enough. Many live in terrible poverty. It's just not right. Millions of people are unable to get medicines or healthcare that could stop them from getting sick, or cure them if they do. In some places, children complain about having to go to school. In others, millions of children can't go to school at all. Is that fair? The thing is, we're causing these problems, so we can fix them too, if we all work together and get creative. Let me explain. If you think about it, all living things have superpowers. Birds can fly. We can't. Dogs can smell things we can't, which is not always a bad thing. Plants absorb gas that we can't breathe and turn it into air that we can. But human beings have a power that other creatures don't. We are the most creative creatures ever. Our heads are full of ideas and we're great at making things too. With that power, we've already changed the world over and over and solved thousands of problems. So now we can do it again. The good news is we have a plan that can only succeed with your help. There's one organisation in the world that represents the people of 193 countries, and it's entirely dedicated to keeping us peaceful and working together. You may have heard of it, the United Nations. They've just announced the Global Goals for Sustainable Development. These are 17 goals to protect the planet against climate change and make the world safer, fairer and more just for everyone. We have to achieve these goals by 2030. The great thing about a plan is that we can check how we're doing as we go along. Give ourselves a pat on the back if we do well, and try harder if not. 2030 isn't so far away, so we need to start right now. There's a lot we can do if we work together and get really creative. We can start by making these goals famous. So find out what they are and tell everyone, and ask everyone to tell everyone else. Then, and this is the exciting bit, see if there's something practical you can do to actually help. If we don't waste food, water or electricity, that would help protect the planet. If we all stick up for people who aren't being treated fairly and respect each other's human rights, that would make a big difference too. There are 17 goals altogether, so lots of different ways in which you can help. We also need some new ideas and new ways of doing things. What if being a girl or a boy made no difference to how safe you feel, the friends you have, or the places you could go? What if we found new ways to make water clean and drinkable? What if we could recycle all our waste? What else do you think we could do? We all live on Earth, and we depend on the Earth to live. We have so many different cultures, We only have one planet. If we take care of it and each other and share what we produce fairly and sustainably, everything we need is right here. Someday we may find intelligent life on other planets. In the meantime, let's see how intelligent we can make it down here for all of us. At home, on Earth. I'm just saying.
Okay, so here we have the Sustainable Development Goals. As they say, they are a set of 17 goals with the three key things or three key aims, which are end extreme poverty, fight inequality and injustice, and tackle climate change. And all of our work at Trócaire is underpinned by these 17 goals. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek if you hold on with me until the end of the webinar about our new resources coming up, which feature this video that you just seen. There is three more videos around the SDGs in the Trócaire website that you can go have a look and pick the one that you prefer for your own audience or for your own students. And we also, another sneak peek is an activity that you can do. This is mostly for primary schools, but it can be used also in post-primary. We have an SDG bingo. So we have an SDG wheel in our website that you can click and then select one SDG. So if children draw or select 6 of the SDGs here, you can ask them to select the one that they feel they are more important or their favorite ones. And then you select the SDGs by clicking the SDG wheel. Once the first person click all of the SDGs, that will be the winner. And the aim of this activity is to start getting familiar with what are the 17 SDGs and what that may mean for them. So we are going to have in Trócaire as well in the website a quick guide for teachers to explain easily what each SDG means, and then you can also go to the website and check the different targets of the SDGs. Now, why are the Sustainable Development Goals important when we talk about games? Well, the SDGs is the central piece of our Game Changers competition. And our Game Changers competition, to create a game, the theme has to be related to the Sustainable Development Goals or one of the Sustainable Development Goals at least. Now, let's talk about games. At Trócaire, we started a journey in creating development education games or creating games that will help change the world. Why? Why do we start this journey on games? Well, we believe that games first is fun, so it's fun to learn through games. Second, it helps different skills that support the curriculum, like, for example, problem-solving skills, working with others, peer-to-peer education, communication skills, creativity, empathy. So in this case, it's much engaging to learn a topic that you're interested in by creating a game in which you need to work with your peers and you need to think about how to communicate these games or this issue that you want to talk about. You need to research about the issue and then be creative around how to create your own game. Now, we believe that this is more impactful than just reading about an issue. And games have long been used to engage people in development education. This is nothing new. Games can promote positive social change and real values like empathy, engagement, and understanding. So let's talk about how to start creating your own game. Before that, now this is a little bit of a sneak peek of what are we going to do on our Game Changers online program. This will be step 2, and I'm going to tell you all about the program later on. But for now, Can we write on the chat? We're going to use the chat function since not everybody is familiar with Mentimeter. Can you write what games do you play, or what games do you think or do you know that your students play? And we have some examples here: Fortnite, Uno, Snakes and Ladders. Anything else? What games do you think your students like, or what games do you like? So again, if we go to the chat to all panelists and attendees, everyone will be able to see your answer. We'll go to the keyboard. Minecraft, very good, yeah. Something else? Articulate, very good. We have loads of games. We have Snakes and Ladders, we have Monopoly, Trivial Pursuit. So here we're going collaborative games. Perfect. So once we have an idea of what games they like to play and why, and then we can think about why are we engaging in those games and how can we create a similar game. So then the next question will be, what components do you use in your games? So we have dice, we have controller, sometimes we have pencil, answer sheet, depending on the games, smartphone, very good. Any other components of games? Cards and dice, very good. Anyone else? Any other answers? Okay, so now what we need to do is start thinking about how to create a game. Now, if you have, you think this is difficult, don't worry, because in the Game Changers Online program, a development education officer will go to your school, if it's possible in person, but most likely online. So we'll join your school virtually and talk all of these topics with the kids and start exploring what games do they like, what do we need to think about when we create a game. So first of all, we pick a game, like for example, let's say Monopoly. We pick a theme, for example, let's say climate change. And then we pick a component, like for example, player cards. How can we create a game based on all of these topics or based on all of these choices? Okay, so the game was Monopoly. So we have the Monopoly board game. The theme is climate change. So we're going to change the questions around Monopoly or the items that we collect around Monopoly for climate change items, like, for example, protect biodiversity. We can have water. We can have reduce plastics, and all of these topics that are related with climate change and play in the same way as Monopoly, but changing the questions that we ask and what we need to pick to win the game. Or we can have, for example, Snake and Ladders. Topic, it can be gender equality, and the component can be a dice. So we roll the dice, we go around the different squares on the board, and the questions or the scenarios that are on the cards will be all related to, for example, how many girls go to school, difference in pay on gender equality, and what is the SDG related to gender equality, or what are the targets of the SDG related to gender equality, etc. So we'll get a little bit the idea on how to start creating our own game. First, by copying a game that already exists and a game that we are familiar with, and then adapting it to the topic that we would like to explore. Now, once we have that, we can start learning about games. We can start exploring further the issue that we have chosen. Now, can we really learn through games? Well, we go to the Trócaire website. We have created a series of games. This is an example, is Project Honduras. Now, in Project Honduras, if you let me just see if we can visit it. Now, Charlene, can you let me know if you're seeing the game loading?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm watching.
Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of games that we designed in Trócaire. Now, this is a video game, but we also have board games. Here, for example, we're going to learn about climate change in Honduras, and we're going to learn about the work that Andrea and Javier are doing in Honduras. Now, Andrea and Javier are real people, and they are doing this kind of work. So what they have to do, okay, I'll just pick Andrea, we can choose. So first we need to, we're going to talk about flood. This is real. In Honduras, they have flood as a consequence of climate change. So we're learning about this topic and their lives, but without having to read about it or do an exercise about it. So what we do is we have different volunteers and we need to pick a place. So Oscar is in need of some assistance transferring food and medical supplies to relief centers. He could really benefit from some volunteers to help him. He needs 5. Now, do you want to say yes, maybe later? So yeah, let's give him the volunteers. Some others, you have to pick which is more important. Otherwise, you will run out of volunteers. So the flood has caused some serious damage and we need to help to clear the sewage. Can you spare some volunteers to help? Let's say 60% chance of success, let's say maybe later. We have a message here. Thank you for using volunteers. Time to help relief centers. We can be sure that anyone displaced because of the flood will have the supplies to keep safe. Okay, so to keep safe. So we have helped the community with the volunteers and okay, let's see here. 2 volunteers required. Carlos needs assistance. Will you need assistance sandbagging some residential areas? Okay, let's say yes. And then we will wait for the message. And here we see, let's see if we've done it. Thanks for carrying some residents, we can prevent water damage. Brilliant. And then we're running out of volunteers. So there's still a few people that need help. And we need to choose how to distribute the volunteers. And this is a real job that they are doing there. And these are real causes or real damages that climate change is having, or real impacts that climate change is having right now in Honduras. So this is an example of a game. And if you visit trócaire.org, you can find more games as well. Now let me present again. Sorry about this. Okay, here we are. And we have here other games from Trócaire. So we have the exploitation game, which is a board game. It's more aimed to post-primary schools and is to explore the topic of oil in Kenya. We have Human Rights Offenders, which is another project to explore the barriers that human rights offenders are suffering in some parts of Central America. And then we have a new game coming up at the end of this month called Pathways to Peace, which explore what families fleeing conflict and all of the problems that they face and how they can rebuild their lives. So it explores a little bit the difference between basic needs and long-term needs. So you can visit the website and trócaire.org, our work /educate to have a look at all of these games. Then, finally, we're going to talk about our Game Changers online program. Our Game Changers online program consists of 3 different steps. So step one is a CPD for teachers on games-based learning with a focus on the Sustainable Development Goals. And after each step, we're going to give a task to the teachers to complete with their classroom. Now, we're being very flexible because we understand the challenge that schools are facing right now with all of the COVID restrictions. We don't know when they're going to be open. Kids having different levels once they come back to school. So then we're being very, very flexible, and just send us an email and let us know how would you like to go about with the program, and we can arrange something specific for your needs. The step 2 is the workshop where development education officer will go into your school virtually and start working around how to create a game and how to help young people start designing and developing their own game concepts. Then we have step 3, which is optional, but we think is very interesting for schools to share their ideas and their games and maybe try them out with other schools and see how it works. And then the final step of the program will be to enter the Game Changers competition. Now, why should we enter the Game Changers competition, or what are the benefits for schools, teachers, and students for the Game Changers competition? We are going to see a video about them.
Game Changers is a competition for young people in Ireland to create a game and try to change the world. So we call on young people to raise awareness around human rights and global justice issues. And we think this is a really fun and exciting way for children to communicate these issues to their peers and to their families and to people in their community. It's great for teachers to get involved in Game Changers because it's really allowing children to lead their own learning. Children who work in groups, they can have that critical analysis of an issue that's being explored in the game. It allows students to explore the issue more themselves, not being too led by the teacher. So if you would like to enter with your students, they can enter into the primary, into the post-primary, or into the youth categories. And if you go onto trócaire.org/Game Changers, there's lots of information, entry forms, and resources to support you create your games as well.
Okay, so the closing date was moved to the 14th of May to give a little bit more time for schools and students to create their own game. And this can be done in the school with the teacher or as a homework at home, especially now that some kids are studying at home and they may need something more creative to work with the siblings or with the parents. And you can also, the kids can also enter individually, so they don't have to work in groups if it's not possible to work in groups due to the actual COVID restrictions. So if you want more information about Game Changers, you can visit gamechangers@trócaire.org or drop me an email. Remember that to pitch your game idea, you pick a game theme, you pick your components, you describe how to play, and then you also need to think about what do you learn by playing this game. So remember that the game has to be related to the Sustainable Development Goals. It's about changing the world, therefore you need to promote some learning, and you're ready to create your own game. Now, before to finish today, I would like to show a sneak peek about what our new resources, which are going to be landing on our website very soon. So I invite you to have a look at our website. Probably in a few weeks or at the end of this month, they should be up and running. So we have the Development Education Resources for 2021. They explore the Sustainable Development Goal 16, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions, through the stories of 2 families in South Sudan. So we have booklets for early childhood, senior primary, post-primary, and youth. You can download them all from the website for free. And this year we also have a couple of videos, or one animation and one video. The animation is more to tackle primary school, and there's also a post-primary video that comes with the resource. And we also have a game that I showed you before called Pathways to Peace, and to explore the journey of families fleeing conflict and how then they settle in a safe village and what they need in order to create roots in the new place. And that will be all for me. You're now ready to start thinking about your game. And I don't know if there's any questions. Charlene, you're mute.
Charlene, you're muted.
I obviously clicked it twice. Yes, we have a few questions. So one was somebody was just asking if you can remind people where they can find the videos. I know I was able to find most of them just generally online when I searched, but are they on the Trócaire website, or where can they find those?
The videos are on the, yeah, okay, so there's some videos. The video that I showed today was from the world's largest lesson. So you can visit it in the world's largest lesson. It's also on the Trócaire website. So you can go to Trócaire.org and Our Work Educate, and there you have a series of different videos. Now, if you don't find it on the website, it's because we are revamping the website. So there's some changes being made. So it may be a little bit more difficult than previous years until the website is fully operational. But if you need a video around the SDGs or around any of the other topics that we work in Trócaire, you can also send us an email. My email address, if you want to place it on the chat there, is laura.fernandez@trócaire.org. You can also contact Game Changers at trócaire.org, and I'll send you the links, or I'll find the links for you as well.
Another quick question. Say, for example, there's a pupil on here today and maybe they have seen this online and are really interested. Can they contact the likes of yourself directly, and maybe you can guide them on how to get their teacher on board? Or, because I would say a lot of young people are interested, but maybe they need to nearly convince their teacher to be able to do it, or do they have to be involved with their teacher, or can they apply separately from school?
Well, last year we had to launch the home challenge category. So this is because the schools were closed. So potentially a child can also apply with his own game. Now we need to be careful depending on the age of the child. You know, we need a guardian or someone who take care of. We have to check all of the protection for children. So they need to be careful with that. But they can drop us an email, and then we can follow up with the person around how to go about and how to enter the competition.
Okay, great. And let me see. Can they still win if they don't create an online game? So say they designed like a board game, is it still?
Of course, yeah, there's different categories. So, for example, the video that we saw there on the a minute ago about Game Changers, it shows people holding games. Those were the winner games. So we had a video game that won on, it was created in a website, things called Scratch. But then we also have board games. We had Claymopoly there, which was a little bit the example that I gave about Monopoly, but about climate change. And we had another one around snakes and ladders. And yeah, you can create a video game, a board game, or a card game. Now, the most important when you create a game is to think about what is the learning that you're promoting. Are you promoting empathy? And to be original. So obviously you will get more points if the game is more original, or your board game is more original, than if you just copy exactly Monopoly and change a couple of things.
Okay. And if, say, for example, they did do a card game or a board game, do they post that to you? How do they submit their entry? What is the best way forward there?
Yes, we have to see how things go, because we are in very uncertain times. So on the first year of the Game Changers competition, they usually post it to us. However, last year, because of COVID restrictions, they had to send pictures. So we can accept the pictures of the game. Just make sure that you send us all of the components. So, for example, if you have a board game with question cards and you also create some little, how do you call them, tokens or different components of the game, send us a picture of everything so we can evaluate everything and not only the board game.
Okay, and Brenda asked a question there. So they're obviously home educating full time at the moment and not in school. And how can they access the game support? And ultimately the competition is either a home ed education sort of family project, or even as part of, could they do it with a collaboration among a few different families? How did it work last year in lockdown, I suppose, is probably.
So you're talking about, for example, the online program, but instead of delivering to schools, delivering to families. Yes, we can organize. We are very, very open to suggestions and to adapt to the situations of the families. Now, obviously, some children are in school, some children are not, some schools are closed, some schools are not. So we are very open to adapt to the needs of the participants. So if you are interested, absolutely contact us and we will create a session or we'll organize a session to help you and your kids to create and start thinking about how to create a game.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, hopefully, Brenda, that answers your question. If you get in contact with Laura, then she'll be able to set up some form of session, whether it be virtually with yourselves. Well, I think that's us for today, Laura. All I can say is thank you so much for coming along today on behalf of Trócaire and helping us support our game changers moving forward. And thank you everybody who's attended today. I hope you found it interesting, and thanks for your questions that you've put forward. I suppose a few quick reminders. So you will receive your international certificate via email after this, and also you will receive a recording of this presentation. So for example, if you're a teacher and you're wanting to share it with your colleagues or with your pupils, especially everybody working at home, please feel free to do that, and make sure and check out our website and the Trócaire website for Laura's new resources coming up and any future webinars. So we are hoping to put out really one a week, hopefully moving forward here. Some might be one a fortnight. So please watch out, and don't forget to like our social media pages. But from us, thank you, and it's been great. So I'd like to say bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.